YouTube doesn't hate that content, and so we built a large audience. We built an audience of, my total social footprint right now is around 3.6 million people. That's larger than the city of Chicago. I never meant to do that. This is my 5th career. So when we start talking about building an audience on social, I know that's probably something all of you are interested in, but I want us to take a moment and tell you the wrong reasons to think about having a social media following.
Palm pepper spray is next generation OC spray. It's hot at 1.4% major capsaicinoids, and its modular design means you can customize it exactly to you. 3 different setups, lots of different color combinations. You can make it exactly as you like. And the flip top safety prevents accidental discharges. It's 10 to 12 foot range and 25 half-second blasts. Make sure that you can keep that long range eye poke at long range. I trust Palm OC and I recommend it for everyone for self-defense.
And the first one is because you want to make money at it. That's the vast majority of people that I know that I go, why do you want a social following? Well, I would like to make that money at it, John. I would like to have income from that. Stupid reason to have a social following. It's so funny that people say to me all the time, because now I'm kind of established enough in the industry that most people in the industry know who I am, but for a long time, I would hear this from people like, John, you just came out of nowhere. You had this overnight success. And I said, absolutely, I had an overnight success right at the end of 7 years of grueling labor. Started the company in 2011, started the social footprint in 2012, started the YouTube channel in 2016. All of a sudden, by 2018, it's my full-time job. 7 years of hard work before I made enough money in order to live on it. And I really couldn't live on it when we started. When we went full-time, when I quit my last job, I looked at my wife and I was like, we're not ready for this. And my wife was like, I don't think we have an alternative. So we tightened the belt and paid the bills. You know what I mean? And now it does okay. I pay 15 employees. And not all full-timers, okay? So there's 6 of us who are full-time, there are 9 part-timers, and then, if there's any business owners, again, if there's anything left over at the end of the month, I get to pay some bills. You guys know how that goes. There's something left over every month. But, so if you go, hey, I want to build a YouTube channel or a social media presence on the TikTok, Insta, TwitFace, because I want to make money. You will fail, I'll guarantee you, because you will not make money soon enough and you won't want to put up with the heartache. Straight up. Next reason that's a terrible reason to build a social following, because I want to be famous. No, you don't. Who here knows a legitimately famous person? Does anybody know a legitimately famous person? Who do you know who you call legitimately famous?
My cousin was in the X Games.
Okay, so your cousin was in the X Games, did some stuff. Did he love the fame?
He's a weirdo, so yeah.
So kind of, sort of. So some people do love the fame. I can tell you that. Listen, would you? I know a couple of legitimately famous people, like really famous people. The problem, they can't go out in public. They can't just sit and have a steak dinner. I always go back, I tell folks, listen, I grew up a San Francisco 49ers fan because that's God's team. That's why he makes sunsets crimson and gold. Hello. And I grew up in the 80s watching Joe Montana play football, and Dwight Clark, who you remember from The Catch, if you're a football fan at all, he had a restaurant in the Bay Area for a long time. And I remember being a teenager and going, and Dwight would host, and we went there to there. It was a good steakhouse. We show up, and he said, hey, listen, Joe and Jennifer are in the audience, or in the restaurant tonight having dinner. Please don't bother them. He'll come around after dinner. And Dwight Clark had to say that to patrons of his restaurant coming in so that Joe Montana could just have a steak dinner with his wife. Do you want that every day? You probably don't. You don't mind the money, though. You'd take Joe's money, right? You'd be like, I'll take his money if I put up with those problems. Sure. My point is, though, is that building a social audience so that you can be famous is a terrible idea. Fame is a multi-edged sword. I will also tell you, if you have skeletons in the closet and you want to be famous, you better drag them out and put them in the front yard, kids. You better just put them all out there for the world to see. That's the only way to get around it. Because you look at all our politicians, right? We have some politicians lately who've had some scandals show up. Or maybe that happens all the time. How about famous celebrities? How about those folks? And because listen, people are going to find out who you are. So if you go, listen, I want to have a social following so I can be famous. Are you ready for that? Now, I can tell you, if you do this, you have two choices. Here's your two choices. If you're going to build a social following, two choices for you and two choices only. Number one, you either find a character and adopt that character consistently. My friend Matt Page does this. Is anybody familiar with Enter the Dojo and Master Ken? Yeah, if ever you've seen Master Ken, he is an amalgamation of all the bad martial arts instructors in history. He's a hilarious character. It's a character, and Matt plays that character incredibly well and consistently online. Okay? He's also a filmographer and a great actor and those things. But Master Ken is his persona, and he has the persona of Master Ken. You can do that if you want and make that a 2A persona. Your only other alternative is to be radically and completely authentically you, and have no hiding and no pretense. Because otherwise, your hypocrisy will find you. Your play acting will show up. And that means, guess what? Here's the truth on that. If your character sucks, it's gonna show up that it sucks. If if you ain't cooking what you ain't eating what you're cooking, to put it in a little bit more earthy vernacular, you ain't smoking what you're selling, it's going to show up. I love this all the time. I always say this at SHOT Show here. I haven't done it yet because I don't want to get in fist fights. But I have said I'm going to show up at SHOT Show and ask every instructor for an EDC dump. Be like, oh, you got to carry all this stuff. Let's see it. You carrying it today? If you are, awesome. If not, you better stop telling people about it. Now then, I know there's about 5 people in the audience that are like, oh yeah, Korea, how about you? You want me to? I'm not gonna, because I don't want to, hurt feels or whatever, but all the stuff I'm telling folks that they should carry, be like, John, you don't carry no sea spray. Sure I do, here it is. John, do you carry a gun everywhere you go? Well, if I was, I'm carrying it concealed. I don't want you to know that I am, and I don't want you to know where it is. You don't really carry that medical kit on you, do you? You'll find out if you get in a wreck. I am, it's on my ankle. Why? Because I'm not going to get caught out there. I'm going to tell you this. I ain't going to get murdered in a gunfight and not fight back, and then they find out, oh, Korea doesn't really carry his gun. Because I'm the guy telling people carry their dang gun. And so I better be doing it. And also, I better be pretty good with it. Agreed? I'm going to say, listen, I can be beat in a gunfight. Nobody is gunfight proof. I'm not Superman. But at the very least, I want them to pay retail. So back to the idea of social media. What does that mean for you? Don't build a social presence just to be famous. Don't build a social presence because you want to make money. Those are both terrible reasons. I get it. You need to make money. So do I, right? My kids, eat the groceries in the fridge with remarkable regularity. And I have yet to find that the power company will take prayer for the light bill. So why would you build a social presence then? Another terrible reason to build a social presence is because you want to change people or you want to affect their thoughts. Oh, now that hurts feelings all over the place. Now, why would I say that? Because now you think you have power over people. Now you think you're some mad guru who knows all the things. Now you think you're special. Anybody remember the old Saturday Night Live skit with Christopher Walken? Babies, I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like you. The only difference is Bruce Dickinson makes gold records. Anybody remember that? No, okay. Awesome. We need more cowbell, right? We got to have more cowbell. So listen, we're all just regular people. So if you're like, hey, I'm going to change hearts and minds, I have the special info, I'm the guru. Well, guess what? There's probably somebody who's better at it than you. Agreed? There's probably somebody who's smarter than you. They're better looking than you. That's why I say all the time, I don't get a social media presence for my good looks. Now you can, I know good-looking people have a better time on social than non-good-looking people, and my problem is that I'm chunky. And I don't have enough good looks, and my boobs aren't big enough to get a big social following. It's just not. They kind of got big enough for a while, but I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight now. My point is that, listen, here's the other side of that though. So why would you then want to build a social following? Because you're passionate about a topic and you want to help people with it. You go back to what Dave said, what Clinton said about, listen, when I want to learn stuff, first place I go is YouTube. I need to learn a thing. YouTube, learn the thing. And guess what? There'll be a tutorial pop up. And I don't care about this person affecting me. I care, hey man, listen, is he passionate about the subject? Does he know what he's talking about or she know what she's talking about? Can they help me do the thing? And they do, and I go on with my day. I remember this, I go back to, my wife and I have a minivan because we left Coolville a long time ago and I got a lot of kids, okay? And my kids are all grown now, but you get my point. And we had a broken thing on the minivan. And I was like, the dealer was like, I want $700 to fix the broken thing. And of course that offended me because I'm cheap and because I was a pastor, which means there was no money for nothing ever. And so to the YouTubes. And a dude on the YouTubes helped me fix it. Cost me like $8 in parts. Which then, of course, made me want to go punch somebody at the dealership in the face who wanted $600 for it. But the point is that it gave me that thing. So I will tell you, why do I build my YouTube channel? I post like a dog on social, okay? I do stuff on social I would never recommend you do. Between my two YouTube channels, we post 17 videos a week. That's stupid. Don't do that. But why do I do it? I'm so passionate about the subject and I have so much content to make on the subject, I can't not. So every single day of the week, we post a surveillance video of a real gunfight somebody got into, and then 3 days a week, we post badge cams. I kind of need to go to 4 or 5 days a week on the badge cams because I'm backed up too far. Don't let Stephanie Widener hear that. She'll beat me, okay? You know, she's my CEO, she's my work wife, and she'd kill me. My real wife would probably kill me too. But not because I want to be famous, simply because I want to help people. Simply because here's a real rep. Here's what I recognize. For me, in my niche, and I'm not telling you your niche, I'm just telling you my niche, that what I provide for people every day is a mental rep for them to get better, to hopefully go home at the end of the day and be safe. And those emails that I get back that say, John, you saved my life today. I get about one of those a week now. Now, of course, I always say, I didn't save your life. I wasn't even there. You saved your life. Tell me what happened. And people go, dude, John, I heard your voice in my head. This stuff started going down, and I heard your voice in my head, and I thought, hell no, I'm not dying in this damn video because Korea's going to call me a moron. And so I got out of there, and I did this thing, and that's what happened to me. And I go, dude, great job. Well done. So glad I could be helpful. Was there video? And that's why we have the podcast now, to let those people tell their stories. So as we've built the ASP enterprise, okay, so now it's funny, I had Kevin Crichton, he's now the head of the online division at NRA Publications. And Kevin was like, John, you've built a social media, you've built a media empire. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. I kind of have. We have 2 YouTube channels, a Facebook page, an Instagram presence. We have a podcast that's the top 1% podcast in the world. Which is relatively easy to get to the top 1%. Climbing from 1% to 0.1%, that's where it gets a little steep. Okay, why do we do all that? I never planned on doing any of it. It was never my intent to do any of it. It was just an avenue to help people. And because I'm passionate about it, I can't quit. Now, I have had somebody ask, well, John, I mean, you'd never sell your business, would you? I said, hogwash, man. Somebody comes and says, hey, John, I have $50 million for ASP. I'd be like, sign the check, baby. It's yours. Now, I'd keep doing what I'm doing and helping people. I'd find another way to do it. Now, you'd be honest, if somebody offered you $50 million for your business, you'd probably take that money too, wouldn't you? Why? Because $50 million, buy a nice plane. Let's be honest. Buy a heck of an airplane. My wife wouldn't let me spend that much. But my big point for you that I want you to catch out of this is this. There are bad reasons to build a social following, okay?